there's an in-depth article in the New York Times about, it says, with orders, investigations, and innuendo, Trump and the GOP aim to cripple the left. And essentially, the article is arguing that from going after Democratic law firms, fundraising organizations, NGOs, that what you have is a coordinated campaign to figure out how the left gets its money and also how it organizes its operations, and essentially to paralyze the left. Now, honestly, this is stuff that the Democrats do all the time, right? And we've been talking now for some years about we need to do the same thing. And so, but it's so predictable that when Trump and the Trumpsters, for the first time, by the way, they did none of this in 2016. There was no such campaign. But when they do it now, it strikes all these alarm bells, because it's supposed to be a one-way thing. Democrats do it to us. We never do it to them. That, of course, was the way that, let's say, the two Bushes operated. But, and the other thing that's interesting is that in the article, our friend Scott Walter, who is the president of the Capital Research Center, is quoted. He is apparently the guy who is like tracking the money trail, right? And so he was evidently in the White House, or in the at least part of the administration, and giving them briefings about this is where the money flows. This is, Arabella Advisors.
Well,
these are the NGOs.
He was very instrumental in helping us with, was it Police State?
Police State,
yeah.
yeah.
So he was.
Well, he was, and actually, no, it was 2,000 Mules.
Oh, that's right.
Remember,
that's right.
What he was doing is in 2,000 Mules, the unanswered question was, where does the money come from?
That's right.
You cannot have an organized operation without money. And Scott has been looking at the way in which money from liberal billionaires. But I think the new thing that we're learning is that a lot of the money of the left doesn't even come from the liberal billionaires, and doesn't even come from Soros. It comes from the government itself. So
the racket they pull with the NGOs, or what?
Yeah. Right. So what happens is, let's say, for instance, Soros will go to a bunch of these Democratic congressmen or prominent officials in the government, and their wives and their son-in-laws all set up NGOs. Right now, Soros will fund those NGOs. He'll give them $100,000 each. But then the NGOs apply for millions of dollars of government money. And when they get it, they start funding their own relatives. They start putting it back into the political campaigns of the left. So the left is getting them the money so that they can recycle some of it back. And this is really what is being busted. If you want to know why the left is like,
freaking
these
out.
Cuts are devastating, like these cuts are devastating, what they mean is,
for them,
we've created an ecosystem that's extremely profitable. And notice, by the way, that, and this is really, I think, how the never-Trumpers fit in with the Democrats. By and large, the Democrats have said to the never-Trumpers, or the never-Trump regime, you can have the foreign policy part of this pie. Because think about it, when you look at the federal budget, right, about 2/3 of it, well, there's also interest on the debt. But not counting interest on the debt, a big chunk goes to domestic programs, and then a somewhat smaller chunk, but still pretty big, goes to defense. So think of it. If you basically say the left and the Democrats get to exploit the domestic programs and loot the taxpayer that way, and then the never-Trump organizations get to loot the taxpayer on the defense side, there's something in it for everybody.